Hello. Welcome. Just go with it. My name is Ben. That is Jared. And we just watched Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, we did.
We're talking about the ones with Robert Downey Jr. FYI.
Yes,
Did you say
yes,
Sherlock
because
Holmes? There's
there,
about a billion Sherlock Holmes.
yeah, there is movies, TV shows, countless books. So,
So I haven't seen I've seen this once, and it was so long ago. And I was actually surprised by how much I remembered.
really,
It, honestly, to the point where I was kind of like,
to what?
to the point I was almost getting bored because I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And that's not even a knock at the movie. That's just like when you're watching a mystery, it gets like infinitely boringer when you already know what the answer is, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. This one, it does. I say let's still not say the twist, the like,
Yeah, yeah.
the spoiler, just in case. But the twist is like when you know it, it's kind of like, oh, okay. So now you're just picking up on every little thing. You're like when you're watching, you're kind of like looking for the
Hmm.
little nods to like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And uh I do like the plot of this film though. Like just the main thought of like this guy who messed around with black magic is now come back from the dead and like Watson's the one who pronounced him dead, so like what's going on there and then also like, you got to figure out, is this real? Like, is there actually magic in this universe or no? Like,
Yeah. One of the things I loved was the setting, like the theming of it. It was very, I don't know. It was had style to it, if that makes
yes,
sense. Like it
yes.
had a certain style. Like they really knocked like out of the park this sort of like the era of like the industrialization of England and that sort of thing, and how the grimy and grittiness and like the sort of birth of like industry, like
Hmm.
metalwork and all of that. And it was, I don't know, I found the whole setting interesting.
Yes. And I said this to you before we started. One thing I remember always loving about these movies is the soundtrack. That like main theme and just the music, it's so like whimsical and fun, but also like feels like industry setting. Like when it's like the drums, it kind of sounds like a hammer like hitting metal and stuff in points. And I'm like, dang, they really put a lot of work into this. I forget who is the composer for this, but it's someone who went on to like do a bunch of bigger stuff. So like this being one of the lesser known ones, I like a lot. It's really fun.
How did you feel about like Holmes being portrayed as goofy? Not goofy is the wrong word, but just a bit silly at times. How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't mind it. Like he was a drug addict and stuff. Like that's always been Sherlock Holmes. Like he's just when he's not solving mysteries, he's just going crazy and doing drugs and just kind of like, and Watson's the one who's supposed to keep him sane. And I mean, I'm fine with him being a little freaky. Like you're gonna be goofy when you're doing freaking drugs all the time.
I feel like a lot of the portrayals I've seen of Sherlock Holmes has always been like a more serious, is more intellectual. He was
Yeah.
intellectual in this, but I mean more just stand back and observe, not like in your face. Like this portrayal very much was like a more goofy, in your face kind of. I mean, he literally was disguising himself and like doing crazy stunts like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I feel like it's very different from most portrayals you see of Sherlock.
Well, yeah, like I think the biggest difference with this one is this Sherlock Holmes can fight and can fight well, but I love that. I love the fight scenes. Like when he is like doing the mind battle, when he's like figuring out exactly how he's going to beat his opponent, I always think that's so cool, man. And it goes into the second one too. I remember that there's a few scenes like that, but that's just so unique. and I mean, who cares really? Like let it be fun and stuff. Let Sherlock Holmes have a few fist fights.
So, I think we should go ahead and get into it. So
Okay.
worth your time. I would say, yeah, sure. If you got nothing else to do, I wouldn't say it's like outstanding, but it's not bad. It's still a good time.
Yeah. I'd say definitely at least a one-time watch.
Hmm.
Because, like, this is fun. Even if you're not into, like, just a murder mystery, this is just, like, a good mystery altogether. And there is action and comedy and stuff like that. And I don't know, like you said, it's a fun period piece, like when it's set. So
Yeah.
I think for sure worth your time.
All right. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So, how did you like the I guess villain? I guess you could say.
Yes, I do like Blackwood. I I mean, he doesn't have much of a personality, but it's just like I think he thought everything through really well. And when you're watching this for the first time, I remember like my parents not wanting to finish it because they were like, this is getting too weird. Like, I don't like it. It's getting very like all over, like creepy and stuff because, they don't like that kind of stuff. But that's a thing that I kind of give this movie a little props for. Like it really felt like that's the way it was going. And so when it is revealed that there was no magic, nothing happened, Blackwood just used science to trick everybody out and make them think he came back from the grave and, you know, used fire randomly to put that guy on fire and then the guy in the bathtub boiling alive and all that stuff. But it was all science.
One thing that I is kind of nitpicky. One thing I felt was kind of annoying. How
Hmm.
like a lot of good mystery movies will do the whole big reveal at the end, and they cut back to scenes of the detective discovering these things. I feel like everything he not everything, but a lot of things he discovered they never explain. It's just like he knows it, but we don't. Like he looks at this random flower and goes, "Oh," and that's it. How are we supposed to deduct anything from that?
Ooh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like
He
it
licks
doesn't
he,
it doesn't
he
give you a
licks the
chance for
rubble.
you to figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
like we don't have all the information, and I get it. It's a movie. He's supposed to be super smart and all this stuff, but like the fun in these movies is you trying to figure it out, and they don't actually give you the clues to figure it out. They kind of just like I don't know. They just kind of like
Just
throw
tell
it out.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's I don't know. It was just and then like the part where he just licks the rubble. And it's like okay,
Honey.
well, like he didn't even say that. He just like
Yeah.
and then moved on.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if he would have said a little something or something in those moments, kind of like, okay, something is going on. But he just licked it and then, like, went about his business.
They're just like, oh yes,
um,
this ancient recipe of honey and egg. Where the frick did we ever learn about that? That just came out of
yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. I do want to ask, do you like Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law as Holmes and Watson? Do you think their portrayal is good?
I yeah, I would say I'm not exactly like a Sherlock Holmes fan or nothing like that.
Hmm.
But no, I did enjoy it. Like I really did like the way he did it, and like I like the sort of goofiness he brings to it, but in a goofiness in a serious way, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that, but it was very entertaining in that way.
Yeah. And I like their friendship too. I think they do a good job at representing that, where it's like Watson gets pissed off at him all the time, but he still loves them, they're still friends. And it's like they'll have these little moments where like they want to thank each other and they want to kind of, you know, show their affection, but they're too like, no, we don't do that. And I love
Oh
that.
my goodness! So,
And
what'd
then
you think?
also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is more of a wrap up point, but what'd you feel about the revealed Moriarty?
That's literally what I was gonna say.
Okay,
It
okay.
kinda it kinda leaves off with that cliffhanger. And it's like, I'm down for that. Like I kinda forgot Moriarty was I think he's the villain in the second one, like the main guy. So I'm excited to see that representation because I literally remember nothing about the second movie except for like a wood scene, like you said, and the ending, like we talked about before.
I am curious about how much about Sherlock Holmes you actually know. Like,
Well, I've watched all of Sherlock, the show, and then
okay,
two or th- I've read two or three of the
you know more
main
than I do,
books
probably.
by Arthur Conan Doyle.
You know more than I do.
Just a little bit. I mean, a little
just a
backstory.
little bit, you know.
A little backstory. My grandmother was huge into mystery, and so for years it was like Murder She Wrote, Matlock, but her main man was Sherlock Holmes. So like she was always like, read these, check them out, and like she would watch the old black and white ones and stuff. And then we actually watched the modern Sherlock show together, which I love. I think it's great. But I do prefer these movies. And she liked them too. And so that's why I know Sherlock Holmes fans can't not like these movies because my grandmother, who was like 80 when this came out, still loved it. And she loved Robert Downey Jr. So there you go. There's the Sherlock Holmes fan seal of approval.
And, all right, dude, are we ready to rate this?
I am. I am.
You go first because I need a second to put my
Okay.
thoughts together.
So keeping in mind, this is like my fourth or fifth time seeing this movie. I've seen it a lot. I appreciate it and I like it. And so for a first time watch, I probably would rate it higher. But after seeing it so much, I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But I think when I first watched it for the first time when I was younger, I would have rated it higher and liked it more. But I'm thinking like a 7.
See, I'm thinking like a six
Okay.
because like it's one of those things where it's like if it is your first time watching, it's like, oh, this is fun, but you kind of like starry eyed because of like still discovering the mystery. But then
Yeah.
there are those things like I talked about how like the clues are just not there. Like they
Yeah.
just like blindside you with information that they'd never show you. And it's like, where did he get it? It's just stuff like that, like little things here and there that just made it less enjoyable as a mystery movie. The whole point of the mystery movie is for
Yeah.
you to figure it out. And that was kind of my biggest gripe with it. So 8 out of 10, sorry, not 6 out of 10,
I was like, dang, you upped it by 2. Okay.
6 out of 10, purely for that. If they didn't have that weirdness with the clues, it might have been like a 7 or 8 for me.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to take a break before the next one and take a break from Guy Ritchie movies because the whole reason we're doing this is the new Guy Ritchie movie at the end of the month. But there's one other series we got to start for April. So, Ben, are you ready to find out what it is?
Wait, it's a third series?
There's a third series we're starting for
Wait,
April.
so
I
you
told you
said
this.
this one's an actual series, right? Not just like
This one is a
directors.
series. Yes. It's only 2 movies, but we need to watch them.
Oh, okay. You really call 2 movies a series?
Well,
I guess
because
if, I,
there's a
if the third one's coming out.
well, that's the fun part. It's not a movie that's coming out. It's a show. So at the end of this month, Knuckles is releasing. So we're watching the Sonic movies. I have seen the first one, but I have not seen the second one.
I was not expecting you to say Knuckles.
So have you
I
have you seen both of them?
yeah, of course.
Okay, so I've only seen the first one. So
I've
I'm
seen
pumped.
Sonic Prime. I've seen Sonic Underground. I've seen a bunch of Sonic shows.
I used to watch Sonic X, dude, the theme
Sonic
song for that one.
X,
Gotta
yeah.
go fast. Gotta go fast. But no, I'm pumped because I've only seen the first one and I only saw it once in theaters. So,
Well,
and then we get to watch Knuckles when that comes out
yep.
on Paramount Plus, our favorite streaming service.
I hate Paramount Plus. It can go die
I
in a
know,
hole, burn in a
I know.
fire.
We hate Paramount Plus, but we need to watch Knuckles, so you're just gonna have to go with it.